Welcome. This is the Men Church Stuff Podcast. This is the show where brothers-in-law DJ Culp and Brad Coleman talk about stuff from our perspective as men. It's a show for anyone who wants to hear how Christians interact with the world. And don't worry, we're real. We've grown up in church, and we want to share our experiences with you. We're going to talk about life stuff, church stuff, we'll talk man stuff, and stuff. The show starts now. Greetings, listeners here and there and everywhere, all across the land. This is the Men Church Stuff Podcast. I am one of your hosts, DJ Culp, as always, here with my beloved brother-in-law, Brad Coleman. Brad, what's up, man?
Oh, we're here with our special guest from Disciplined Apparel, as Cory. Is that correct? Disciplined Apparel, I get that right?
Yes, sir. That's it.
All right. We're glad to have you as our guest. And so I think we ought to get started just letting you talk about yourself a little bit.
All
Yeah,
right.
man.
Glad to be here for sure. So just like full bio or how much you want to know?
So you've got the mic, my friend.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go from the beginning. So personal testimony, my personal testimony. I grew up in the Episcopal Church, and it was, just most of the Christian experience as far as like a kid going to church because their parents made them, small town Texas. And my dream at that time was to not have to go to church anymore on Sunday. I was at that age in a point in my life where it was not good, and I didn't see God as the good, loving Father because mostly I didn't see that that lived out in the people around me. And so, by God's grace, I was taken somewhere else, not taken somewhere else. I moved somewhere else.
I was kidnapped by God's grace.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was like, I'm trying to remember which was it Stephen or the one who read the book of Isaiah to the Ethiopian eunuch, and he just the Spirit took him.
I was swept away.
Cory, what was that like, man?
Just a cloud of dust in Texas, and then I landed in Shreveport. No, but moved to Shreveport, Louisiana, where I met my wife at a Baptist church. And so I went from Episcopal to Baptist and really got to see the gospel lived out through her and her family. And it was one of those things where I knew exactly what I looked like, and it was not a Christian. I was a skater kid. I was just long hair, shaggy clothes. And the fact that these people loved me the way that I was. The first time that I met her dad, they took me out to dinner and just asked me all sorts of questions about myself. And I kept coming back, honestly, because I wanted to watch these people break. Like in my mind, I just knew like Christians are not people who they say they are. And I was waiting for them to break and just not be who they said they were.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're 15 years later, and I'm still waiting on it after getting married.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But so anyway, that's my testimony and just how I came to be a believer, because I got to see how someone lived out the gospel.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, listeners, Cory is someone who reached out to us. Which you can do if you go to www.menchurchstuff.com. Right there on the front part of our homepage. If you want to be on the show, just reach out to us, which is what Cory did. Before today, neither Brad nor I have ever met Cory. And so Cory, what about our show really kind of made you reach out? What's sort of your interest in whether it be our show or Christian men's podcasting in general? Yeah, what prompted you to do that?
Well, we talked a little bit before this, and it was mostly the fact that I had a podcast before this, but like we've also talked about, I have a full-time job as well, family, kids, and the podcast drifted off because there was just a lot that came with it. And I really wanted to, but I missed it. Like I enjoyed getting to hear about those real Christian experiences, which is why the podcast started, because I wanted to talk with people who were interested in faith and fitness, who had real Christian lives, like not just the polished church on Sunday, perfect life, but people who have experienced grace and the pain that comes with life, but also God's restoration through that. And so I wanted to get back into that space. I wanted to keep having these conversations.
Sure.
And so, I wanted to see or look for men's podcasts specifically, because that's kind of, my demo. That's what I'm interested in. That's the brand is mostly focused towards men. But that's what I looked up and found the Man Church Stuff podcast, and I loved it. And so reached out and wanted to see if I could join the club.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when did you start, or tell us, let's do it this way. Tell us the kind of the history, the backstory of your brand, Disciplined Apparel, because you said that, you say you're employed at a church. What got you into kind of the side hustle category of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, it was honestly a time in my life that was very painful. Like, God definitely uses our pain. And seems to be a theme. Like whenever I experienced pain as a kid, God used that to move me somewhere else to draw me closer to him. But then also once my wife and I got married in 2013 and 2017, decided to start our family. And between 2017 and 2020, we had 3 miscarriages, and it was just, very heartbreaking. It was not something that I would hope anyone ever has to go through. And in that time, there were just these words that the Lord kept laying on my heart, like resilient, redeemed, just these things reminding me of like what he says about us, and disciplined. And these words and verses kept coming to mind. At that time, I was working at a t-shirt shop as a t-shirt designer. And I was like, well, let's put this stuff on a shirt. And I needed it mainly just as a reminder to myself, because anyone who's gone through that, it's usually not just the miscarriages themselves, but it's the time in between, because it was a year in between each time. And that waiting and that hoping month after month after month for 3 years, it just wears you down from anyone who's experienced it. And so I needed something daily to wear, or like have something that reminded me of, again, the truth that God tells us. And the easiest way to do that for me was, because I worked at a t-shirt shop, I knew how much it would cost to actually make these things. And I saw, this is whenever Etsy was coming around. And so,
oh, cool.
And so you could partner with a print partner and basically just start an Etsy shop, link it to a print partner, and then someone else prints the stuff for you. And so it was a real cheap way for me to have like t-shirts made for myself, and put them up there on Etsy, and I would just order them for myself as needed. And then I noticed other people buying them as well. And then friends who I would see at the gym also wanted to wear, these words and phrases and the verses that I had, especially whenever I would tell them like why I'm even doing it.
Yeah.
And then, so I started to build out that Etsy store a little bit more, and like try to communicate why this was being done. And so it was called Disciplined. It was start off as not another Christian brand, and then became Disciplined Apparel, because like faith and fitness is really the foundation of my life, because it quite literally changed who I was. I started out like 120 pounds. Whenever I met my wife, she was a varsity soccer player, and she could have smashed me with one leg if she wanted to. So.
Yeah, like 120, like that's 0% muscle mass,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so, like that was the faith journey. And then the discipline aspect of it, from going to the gym, and discipline is just something that has been a major part of my life that I've really embraced, because then whenever I was younger, I did not have that discipline. And I saw how having discipline is just paramount if you want to do anything, because it's like faith, it's your fitness, it's your life. Discipline is required in all things. So Disciplined Apparel is how that got started.
Yeah.
And that was just on Etsy. And then it just started growing and growing. And I got to there were messages that started coming in from Etsy of like people wearing the stuff and sharing it, and they would send it to me. And so I just started an Instagram page to go with it. And it, the Lord's just grown it to what it is now, which has moved off of Etsy and has taken on a real life of its own. And it's been a massive blessing. And I still get to put out like everything that is on the site is from me. It's not a farmed out
Right. Third
graphic
party.
designer. Yes, like these
Yeah.
are all verses that I've experienced. And yeah, so if you go to my Instagram, I usually do my best to tell the story of like why I've put these verses on a shirt, or like things that I'm going through. And it's
Sure.
just amazing to see that other believers also experience real life and want to
Yeah.
have a way to share their testimony as well.
That's awesome. All right. So is there anything else real quick before we dive into some questions? Because I do like with your background being in like kind of disciplined apparel and with the discipline idea being really what backs that discipline in Christianity and spirituality, family and all that stuff. I'd really love to dig in a little bit into the meat of that, right? So not just the business itself, but you know the building blocks of it. Is there anything else though that you would like our listeners to know before we head that direction?
Man, not really. I mean,
Okay.
that's the whole backstory, and that's it.
Yeah. Cool. So, all right. Well, let's do this. First of all, let me ask you this: outside of your wife being able to smash you, and you needed to you needing to build up your manly ego,
Yeah,
um, what got you into fitness specifically?
man, it was probably just the Napoleon syndrome of a skinny kid in high school. Just
Napoleon
I
syndrome.
was, I think, yeah,
I
I'm
like it.
5'10", and so I was 120 pounds. I was not the tallest person. Didn't play football, and fitness was just, or it's one of those things where a small person with the right focus and
Hmm.
discipline can literally change their appearance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's, yeah.
Yeah. I actually fall in the same category. I'm not a fitness guru at all. At all. I used to be, and then I kind of grew out of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm 5'10" and 3/4, and so and like I can't imagine what I would look like at 120. I would look ill, Brad.
Yeah.
I look
It
very
was bad.
sick. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
don't
see pictures
think
of
I've
myself
been
in high
120 since I was like 6 or 7. That's my nice little 6'7", like, my
Oh,
kids are.
come on, dude. Why? Why? Just
Because it
why?
makes
Why are
my
you getting
kids
no,
roll their
no,
eyes when I do it.
no.
That's why.
Get behind me,
Because my
Satan.
kids are like, Dad, stop. It's like,
Oh
stop trying to
man.
be cool. I'm like, I'm not trying to be cool. I'm trying to make you roll your eyes.
That's
You
right.
should know
You
that.
did it. You did it. Jerk. So, um, how? Let me ask you this, Corey. How do you think, as Christians, we should define discipline?
Yeah. For me, discipline is really, it's not the actions that we take every day, but it is what we choose not to do. And this is something that I've really, like the Lord has really revealed that to me, that it is not, because no one looks at someone who does everything or like who takes every opportunity to do
Mm,
whatever they want and says that that's a person of discipline.
right.
And someone who, but you do look at someone who wakes up every morning and chooses to pray, someone who makes time to read their Bible every day, someone who chooses to share their faith instead of keeping quiet. Like all of these things are ascribed to discipline, but they are things that require you saying no to something first. Like you can't,
Right.
if, and to me, it comes back as I've gotten busier in life, it's become more important. And so, like, if they look at their phone and they say, I have 4 hours of screen time every day, but I'm going to choose to give 20 minutes of this to the Lord. That's a sacrifice. Yes, you're choosing to say no for 15 minutes, but it's not really that big of a deal. Whereas if, you get later in life, you have kids, you have a job, you have side hustle, an amazing podcast like y'all do, and
Oh,
then
stop it.
So you have like maybe an hour or two, or maybe an hour and a half every day. If you say, I'm going to dedicate or choose to say no to something for 30 minutes that I enjoy, like that sacrifice becomes a much bigger thing. And the appearance of discipline is much more apparent there than someone who really doesn't have much time, they have a lot of time, but they don't do the things they know that they should, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I don't think I've ever, Brad, I don't know about you. I don't think I've ever heard anybody like speak the definition of discipline in the negative in such an apt way. It's not what you do, but it's what you don't do.
It's what you're saying no to.
Yeah, like
And,
it's
and, and there's sacrifice
yeah,
with discipline. But but much like a lot of the things with God, that sacrifice is going to be fruitful. If it's a good thing, if it's a God thing, it's going to be fruitful, later in the harvest. You reap what you sow, you harvest what you plant. And, you have a little bit right now, and you got to sacrifice it to plant it,
right.
right? You can't eat it. And so as if you do that and you take care of it and you're disciplined and taking care of the weeds and all that stuff, what you're going to reap later is far more than what you put in.
Yeah.
Because God loves to multiply. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good. Is what not just what am I saying yes to, but what do I need to say no to?
Yeah, and like not just what I have to say yes to defeats the legalistic approach, right? The checkbox, I've got my sheet. What are the things that I need to do today to, and I'll be smug about it, to like appear Christian-y. How can I polish up my mask? How, no matter how authentic it is,
Mm.
how can I polish up my mask just because I've got these boxes to check? Because that is absolutely what are the things that I have to do versus what is it that I'm sacrificing? I argue that's one of the reasons, and certainly not to get off track, but I think that's one of the main reasons why Jesus explained to his followers way back when, like, you are going to be persecuted in my name. And I think it's just because that part of the Christian, not narrative, part of the Christian experience, part of the Christian walk, part of the Christian, Cory, as you mentioned, the Christian discipline, like in that context, is you have to sacrifice. And our world hates that. Like, consumerism doesn't abide by that, right? Um, so so
Well,
just
Jesus said they'll throw you out of the synagogue, right? His
yeah.
follower, he'll throw you out of the synagogues. They're going to cast you out, and that's the religious people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So when our relationship, our religion, and our relationship with Christ to be God honoring, and sometimes when it's God honoring, those who are just religious, who either lack a relationship or have a shallow
Right.
relationship, are really going to struggle with that.
Yeah.
Mhm. And like someone who's disciplined in their faith is someone who is going to essentially choose to reject the world, because you can't choose the world and choose Christ at the same. You can't be a disciplined person in your faith and also someone who
Right.
chooses to walk in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. And I know in my life there has been, I mean, like a crystal clear line. It's not like gray area that just subtly over time becomes black, and I realize, oh wow, this area over here that in my life or whatever is maybe perhaps not something I needed to be involved in. Like for me, Cory, what you were saying to me, there has been a crystal clear line of, if I go over there, then I'm not following God. If I go over there, then I am. Like I mean, it's very blatant.
Yeah.
Um, just out of curiosity, so when I ask how do you think that we as Christians should define discipline, how have you seen it defined in your own personal walk?
I mean, really, the fitness aspect of it is the thing that is the most apparent to me, because, again, like from the things you choose not to do is the thing that you're going to be perceived as disciplined for. And
Hmm.
so someone who maintains their ability to work out 5 times a week at 5 o'clock in the morning is someone who is choosing to say no to a lot of things. Like
Right.
someone who is saying that I'm not going to stay up till 12 o'clock watching Netflix. I'm someone who's not going to eat certain things, and someone who is going to choose to just, because there's plenty of stuff you could do. Like if you're working out 5 times a week and you're getting up, like whenever before we had our second child, I would wake up at 5:30 every morning to go work out before I went to work. And there were plenty of things that I was saying no to. And again, a lot of people would have looked at me and said, like, the act of me going to the gym in the morning is discipline. But it's really everything I had to say no to, which was the discipline for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
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 And it starts the night before and even beyond that, right? You were saying like you're saying no to staying up till midnight watching Netflix because some of us lie to ourselves and go, "Oh yeah, I'll get up at 5."
No,
it's
I
a
won't.
lot harder to make that decision when the alarm clock goes off.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's so Even if you go to bed even if you go to bed on time, 5 o'clock, the alarm goes up and you're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. And I mean, that's still like now because I print the t-shirts for Disciplined Apparel. And so I'm still waking up at 5:30 in the morning to go and print t-shirts. And so it's a different kind of discipline. I'm having to now choose to sacrifice fitness for printing t-shirts because this is now a bigger commitment. And to me, it has, whenever I was young and dumb, I wanted to be big and strong. I wanted to defeat that 120-pound version of myself. And I feel like I've done that. And then now the motivation of spreading the gospel and like getting to write notes to these people with every t-shirt that goes out, like encouraging them to wear this with the intention of spreading the gospel. This has become the priority for me. And so like it requires discipline to say no to fitness, which has been kind of difficult because it was something that was, or still is, a big part of my life, but it now has to be sacrificed if I want this other thing to be done.
Yeah.
So it's just a different area of discipline, I guess.
Well, and I think of, the Bible says that God, that bodily exercise profits a little, but godliness profits all things. And so, you're saying like fitness is still important because that verse, like I was the fat kid who lost it playing football and lifting weights. So I was never that super skinny kid like in middle school. So mine was kind of the other way around. So I had to get these calories off. So, I used to look at that verse and go, oh, see, God says bodily exercise profits a little. It's not.
I could go work out, but this Nestle Crunch is right here, and God said it doesn't really help that much.
But as I grew in my faith, again, God's Spirit kind of convicted me, for that. It's like I didn't say that it's not profitable. It's like, you're acting like I said it wasn't profitable. I said it profits a little, but godliness is more important.
Yeah, but I think Brad, even more than that, and this is one of the things where I take issue with, and if you want to put it in a category of legalism, fine. But one of the things that I take issue with in terms of the church looking at a verse like that inside the church, like Christianese talk, sometimes I think would look at that and say, so that means that we need to be really cynical or really critical of people that are that not choose not to work out.
You have a fitness brand?
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's why we brought you on the show. I'm here to tear you down, Cory, and build my brand up. Yeah. But no, I think that within the church, that oftentimes we take a look at a little verse like that and think, see, so people don't need to care about this as much as they care about Christ. I don't disagree with that in concept, but what happens if it's there on the journey? Actually, we're seeing them in real time, but they're in the middle of a journey on their way to learning about Christ, or just like Cory, you were saying, the way when you wore those shirts just literally for yourself. I needed these to take these verses for me. But those, like the people that you saw here and there, right, that you began to get involved, I think that like physical fitness profits a little. It may in the grand scheme of things, but real time, that actually may be the end that people need to become introduced to Christ. So therefore, to us, again, in the long term, we may see that it profits a little, but to somebody else, that's the game changer.
So, but again, contextually, right?
Right.
This is so
This is Brad's favorite soapbox.
godliness, right? So if you just have bodily exercise and you lack godliness, it's going to profit you for a little bit, for a little while.
Right.
But ultimately, you're missing out on the eternity with Christ. So godliness profits in all things. So if you have godliness in your
Physical fitness.
bodily exercise,
Yeah.
yeah, well, then it's in the second category, right? Because the godliness is what is making it profitable to all things. So you can have a t-shirt business and it could be profitable to you, or you could have godliness in that t-shirt business where, hey, God, you're my Lord and Savior. You're directing my steps. I want this to be honoring to you. And if you say no, I'm gonna pull the plug on this. And if you say go, I'm gonna go, even if I think, that's not gonna work. And you have that godliness in there. Well, now it's profitable at all things. So now it's more than a t-shirt business.
Right.
Now it's a ministry. Now it's an encouragement. So, but again, sometimes we want to look at godliness as through our lens and our definition, of churchiness.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say that. It says godliness, godlikeness, that's Christ-like.
Yeah. And one thing to add on to that, I guess my perspective on that would be that looking at it from a father of two, like or I forget exactly how that verse went, but my legacy that I'm leaving my kids is not going to be that one time I deadlifted 345.
Right.
And it's not going to be that I started a t-shirt brand that was, here for a while, probably gone tomorrow. But my legacy that I'm going to leave to my kids, that I want my kids to remember me as a man of prayer, like someone who put Christ first in all things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
what
right.
defines you? What defines you versus what are the things that you're doing?
Yeah. So, Cory, one of the things that you wrote in the email, that you thought our listeners might like to hear conversation about, and I totally agree with you. You mentioned like discipline long term. So, I think you are absolutely onto something. So, as a musician, in a very different way, like the word discipline has to be central to what I do. Otherwise, I don't get gigs. I don't keep gigs. I don't progress, right, as a musician in my craft. But my question to you is, how do you see discipline practically lived out long term? Because, and I think personally, the gym is it's the joke of this conversation, right? Come January 1, everyone's gonna say like it's time to hit the gym, and I don't care about the $30 a month or whatever it is that I'm going to take advantage of twice.
Took me 2.5 years to cancel that subscription.
Yeah, that's right.
And I wish that wasn't like I'm not making
joke.
that up.
That's so
I'm
true.
gonna go.
There's so many,
I'm gonna go.
There's so many things I tell myself, I'm gonna do that one day. There are so many things my wife has had to throw away because I've told her, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. And then eventually she just says, like, no. Stop lying to yourself.
No, you're not.
But anyway, so I guess that would kind of make me a hypocrite to now talk about
No, you're good. You're in good company, okay?
No, but the discipline long term for me is that understanding that all of these things stack on themselves, and that once someone, for me, and like seeing other people who have gone on this discipline journey, it's a journey of self almost, because you realize that a lot of things in life are related to discipline and require discipline to be good at anything. And then you start to realize that you apply discipline in one thing and you become good at that one thing because of the focus that you were able to apply to it, because of all the things you said no to.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was like, well, what happens if I now apply this in a different area? Like, I showed myself that I could, through discipline, go and do, you know, bench press 225 whenever I started working out for like 2 or 3 years. And so the next thing for me was looking at a daunting task, which might not be a daunting task to other people, but it was read the Bible in a year. Like, and then so I read the Bible in a year, and then now I've read the Bible 3 times, working on the fourth. And then it's the compounding of, okay, I've done these 2 things that seemed really hard at the time. And now how can I apply this discipline to something else? And so, like, in the beginning where we talked about, you don't have that many responsibilities. And so giving a little bit of your time to the Lord isn't exactly a big thing. But as you learn, for me personally, when I went through this journey of discipline and self-discovery, that I can do things well through a process of discipline, and I can get better at a bunch of different things. And what could my understanding, like, what could my life look like if I kept applying this discipline to different areas of my life? Like, what could I, who's the person that I could be at the end of this if I chose to keep applying discipline to these things that I hold important? And again, I think that long-term discipline, when passed through the filter of a godly life, is really where you get to see some big stuff change, like where you get to see the person that God truly has called you to be, because it takes a person of discipline to be a quality father, a quality husband, a quality friend. And I've failed at all of those at some point. But
as I said again, you're in good company, dude.
But it's the discipline to say, or to understand, for me to be good at all of these things, it's going to require me saying no to things. It's going to, me being a good husband is going to require me saying no to working out sometimes. It's going to require me saying, and then understanding that the priority of what your life should be, first of all, and then applying your discipline throughout.
Yeah.
So mainly, like, the long-term thing for discipline for me is understanding and proving to ourselves that we are capable of doing the things that we think are hard. And faith and fitness is kind of where that started. And then the long-term process of understanding who you could be, who the person that God can make you into if you choose to apply it to the things that he's called us to.
Yeah. And dude, right there, I would say is one of the paradoxes, I guess, paradoxes of the Christian experience, of being a Christian, being a Christ follower, because I can do nothing to advance myself to the kingdom of God. None. I can't like, literally outside of Christ himself, I personally can do nothing, right? Yeah. But I can do all things through Christ, not to take that out of context. Let's not chase
I can bench 800 pounds.
By the way,
Christ.
benching 225. That is not an attainable goal for this guy right here. And if it is, I don't actually want to take the time to do that. I'm okay to not. But
Brad was probably doing that in middle school.
Yeah, he was. That's exactly
maybe not middle school, but I have benched 225.
Gosh. Ugh. 125. I was doing everything I could to get 125 off my chest. But no, like, I think the paradox of being a Christian and having discipline is that discipline is the conscious side of us trying to not advance ourselves in the kingdom of God, but just simply seeking God, right? Like, what is it? I think it's James 5:8 or James 4:8, James 5:8, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. And there's littered throughout scripture, there's always, and this comes back to, Cory, like one of the things that you mentioned about in our original conversation about what the definition of discipline is, like, it's got to be sacrifice. There's got to be a part on our end of things where we have to put something down and act. Yeah. But beyond that, the paradox is it's up to God and his faithfulness. And I don't think that God's gonna like just sit up there with his hands crossed and be like, yeah, well, I think you got to try a little harder there, boss. Like that's not the way this works. But we have to be disciplined to search and then just keep that process going. Yeah, I think that's the paradox of it. Brad?
Well, you get back to the scripture you shared, and I see that's how it relates. You draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. And the next verse says, resist the devil, and he will flee. So when we're resisting the devil, what are we doing? We're saying no to his temptation. We're saying no to those things, which again gets back to talking about discipline, and that's part of discipline is. And if Satan tempts us, he tempts us often to things that we want, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be very tempting. I hate mayonnaise and I hate mustard, and if you got a big hot dog with mustard on it, it's not tempting for me at all.
Really?
Yeah.
No,
mustard
Brad,
is the only thing I'll have on a hot dog.
I know. Like,
I'm weird.
Yeah. There's a lot about Brad that would take a while to unpack when it comes to his food choices. But Cory, you and I are on the same page.
My wife, who is a teacher, would tell you that's because he has undiagnosed high functioning autism. That
is not Brad. No, I reject that reason as to why you don't put mustard on your hot dog. It has nothing to do with undiagnosed autism. None. They're not related.
Just don't like similar colors touching each other when I eat food.
That's what it is. It's a color palette.
It's not for me. Anyway, but again, that resist the devil. It is that saying no. And oftentimes that is saying no to things that we would prefer to do.
Right.
And sometimes I think one of the things that my dad would say, he said, if Satan can't get you to sin, then he will try to get you doing so many good things that you're not giving yourself to any of them. So you're doing them poorly.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing a lot of good things, but you're doing them poorly, or you're doing a lot of good things and maybe you're doing them well, but you're losing, yourself, and you can't sustain that. And it's just going to burn you out. And so I think, again, going back to that discipline is often is that saying no to that, whether it's Satan or probably more often than not ourselves.
Just us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally down with that.
Sometimes we blame Satan for what our flesh is, and we're like, Satan, get behind me, Satan. No, Brad, that's you that wants the cupcake. Satan has he's off trying to do bigger things. Like you're
I'm envisioning Satan just walking around all mad. Everybody blames me for that stuff. I didn't do that.
Right.
I'm not taking credit for that.
Cupcakes or not.
Yeah, right. I don't care.
Buttercup's cupcake. Yeah, it's the process of sanctification and the whittling down of yourself so that you can be more like Christ daily. And just choosing every day to say, like, what of myself can I let go of today so that I can choose to be more like Christ?
Yeah. So along this same idea, one of the things that Cory, that Brad and I try to do is give credit where credit is due. I mean, people are broken, period. And so because people are broken, therefore we'll say the church and its behavior is broken, right? And that doesn't mean that it's ineffective. That doesn't mean that God doesn't work wondrous miracles through the church. But that said, there are things that the church does right that are done right. And there are things that should be done right that the church does wrong, that whole conversation. So my question to you is, what issues with discipline do you think that Christians or the church, whichever one, what issues do you think that they get right when it comes to discipline? Like, and it could be from your own personal walk, either as an Episcopalian or as a Baptist, or just something that you've observed or anything like that. But where do you feel that Christians get discipline right?
And yeah, also working at a Methodist church now, that throws a fun little wrench into everything. But
Oh yeah.
where Christians get disciplined right now, I think, is the overall sense that we acknowledge that we are called to follow Christ. Like we have all of the different denominations, we have all of the different small opinions that come up as far as like baptism by immersion, sprinkling.
Right.
Do we meet on Saturdays? Do we meet on Sundays? Is someone allowed to play drums in a sanctuary or not? But but I think
That's what I do. Yeah.
but I think the discipline of letting those things go and acknowledging that we're here for Christ. Like there are people who choose to hold to a denomination. That is the one thing that I've seen that is potentially a negative side of discipline as far as denominations is they hold to the denomination instead of the author of that denomination, which was
Right.
which is Christ. And so
Hmm.
the thing we get right is definitely that there is a discipline to put Christ first as believers.
Yeah. Brad, what do you think, man?
Well, it sounds pretty right to me. I mean, again, you talk about denominations. I always think about First Corinthians, and I always tell people like, one, we ought to get around. We're going to spend eternity together, so we ought to get along down here.
Yeah.
So I don't have
Right.
problems with denominations. I have problems with division.
Yeah.
And it's, in First Corinthians, Paul's going, there's some of y'all say you're of Apollos, and some of Paul, and some of Cephas, and some of Christ. It's like, is Christ divided?
Yeah, sir.
Did I die for you? No, I
Right,
didn't.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so again, the word that divisions is schisms, it's these cracks. So I think Satan wins when we as the church uh, try to hold up and not act like we're in it together.
Yeah.
And I know there's some difficulty with that sometimes. Again, but I think we've got to get more of a mindset of working together as the church.
Mhm.
I want to circle back though, because I'm
Do
going
it,
to keep
man.
talking if I don't. So I want to circle back. One of the things that you said was with the fitness,
Mm.
and with that discipline, you said you learn that I can do things well. And I think sometimes as a Christian, and it's something personally that I struggle with is, the Bible tells us to be humble, but yet we make humility sometimes something that it's not. Like if I say I do something well, it's almost like within the church that well that's pride, that's vanity, that's not humility.
Right. Right.
And one
Like,
of the
yeah,
things I think,
how dare you say I'm so glad that God made me good at this?
Yeah.
Like
right,
what?
but yet we will ask that of other people. We want to make sure he's a good
That's
roofer. We want to make
that's
sure he's a good plumber.
go, Brad.
Yeah.
Go, Brad. That's exactly right.
But if he comes into the church, that good plumber is sometimes seen as not being a good, humble man if he says he's a good plumber.
Mhm.
My
Yeah.
question is
Yeah.
like, look, if he says he's a good plumber, is he a good plumber?
Is he? That's exactly right. Correct. Yes.
Because
Yeah.
if he says he's a good plumber, he's not a good plumber, then he has a problem.
Right.
Because he thinks he's
No
a
one
good
wants to
plumber,
hire
or
a
at
good
least,
plumber.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
You're
then
right.
plumbing is important. Important, like when the toilet's backing up, I want the good plumber.
Yeah.
I want us to fix this, and I want us to keep it from happening again. But I think
Yeah.
what you were saying was, doing the fitness, it helped you see you could do things well.
Mhm.
So how does that branch out in different parts of your life that maybe, being a father, being a husband, being a follower of Christ?
Mhm. I mean, I've got a shirt that sums that up because this was obviously a shirt I wrote to myself, which
Mhm.
says resist mediocrity.
All right.
And it
Yeah,
is
dude.
one of those things that mediocrity is where good things go to die. Like great
Yeah.
things can go to become good. And
Yeah.
so, like, being a father, resisting mediocrity there is where I don't want to be just a good dad. I don't want to do what is required of me just as a father. I want them to say he was a great dad.
Right.
And like again, that requires me saying no to a lot of things because there are plenty of times like I've had, buddies offer to go hunting. I've had people offer to, go work out and do things. And I have to realize that for me to resist mediocrity and just showing up enough with my kids, I have to be there more than enough. I want to resist. I don't want to be just a mediocre dad. I don't want to just be a good dad. I want to be a great dad, and that's going to require saying no, if that makes sense and answers the question.
And would you say that God wants us to not live in mediocrity, right? God doesn't want us to be mediocre.
Yeah, I don't think Christ came and gave a mediocre example of how we were called to live. He came and said, like, I'm willing not just to say all of these things in the most controversial way possible to establish what truth is, but I'm willing to die for these things. And so he was not a mediocre person, and we are not called to be mediocre in what we do.
I think that'll preach, man.
When God made Adam and Eve, the scripture does not say that he looked at him and went,
they're all right.
Yeah.
That'll pass.
Yeah, right. That'll work. Yeah.
I'll do better next time.
Yeah, right. I'll do better next time.
Those are the dinosaurs.
He almost did until he saw Noah.
Right. Oh, good.
All right. So, dude, Cory, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Thank you so much for reaching out to us. The last thing is, where can listeners find you and Disciplined Apparel?
Instagram is a place I hang out all the time, at Disciplined Apparel, and the website disciplinedapparel.net is where I've got everything hosted right now. And anyone who sends an email or a DM through Instagram, I'm the person that responds. It's not a auto-generated thing. And so if you want to get to know me, or you want to support the brand, or just follow along for the journey, that's where it's at.
Awesome.
So just a clarifying question for you. You now, like, you have your own apparel. So they're purchasing like your brand when they go. You're not like hey, I've got this t-shirt idea here. You're not a print on demand place.
No, I moved away. That was how everything started. And then now everything is in-house, much to my wife's chagrin.
Right. Yeah.
Like literally in the house, right?
Literally.
Yes. Front bedroom. And funny story about that. Whenever I first started, I used a heat press to do stuff because, just a little fun fact, I worked in a t-shirt shop and we did screen printing, and we also did that's whenever heat press stuff was really taken off. And we saw that it was like, they make screen printed heat transfers. And so it's essentially the same thing as a screen printed shirt, because like the press actually applies enough pressure to get it into the shirt.
Oh, nice.
And melts the plastisol ink the same. And so anyway, I've got a heat press that I use to make the shirts. And I had a rickety one whenever we first started or brought it in-house out of the print on demand stuff. And it was right whenever we had our first daughter, and the amount of prayer over that room, because it was right next to our daughter's room. And anyone who has gone through sleep training before, like, this was going to be like, if this press wakes this child up,
like, dude, you're dead. Yeah.
Like, we're done.
No, right. Everything is in the tank. Yeah.
So now you have a daughter that can sleep through anything, right?
That's exactly right.
Good luck waking that child up. Yeah.
You trained me this way, Dad. You disciplined me this way.
Right. Oh, that's
I resist all noise when I sleep.
Yeah.
That's right.
I grew up next to it. Like when I was really young, actually until the time I was like 16, and it was train right behind our house that came through several times. It was in between two crossings, so the whistles would blow a lot. Just, sometimes they blow it all the way through just so they didn't have to like blow it before and blow it after. And so like I could sleep through a hurricane.
You still can, Brad.
I've often said,
absolutely still can.
If Gabriel blows his trumpet and God comes back to get me, I'm gonna wake up in heaven. Hey, what's going on? Oh, you missed the whole thing, Brad.
Right.
I mean, you didn't miss it because you're here, but
right.
Yeah,
you
got the best part.
Yeah. The lowest angel in our hierarchy actually had to carry you.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Here's a snapshot of the angel's face.
Yeah, it's just gonna side eye me for eternity.
Right. You were the guy.
That's awesome. All right, so listeners, that is Cory Hinton and Disciplined Apparel. Again, Cory, thank you so much, dude, for being on. We wish the best to you and your company. And we'll be what's the word, Brad? If I'm a customer, there you go. Because words are hard sometimes.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Just
thank
gave
you,
it to
Brad.
you.
Yeah, like we're one mind, right? But also, Brad, quickly, I want to give a shout out to Gavin Kopko. Gavin Kopko is a student here at Union University. Listeners, you will have noticed that our intro music is different for the next for the next 4 episodes. We're going to be running Gavin's intro and outro. You can probably hear it in the background right now. Obviously, you guys can't because I'm going to do this post-production, but Gavin has won a little contest of students writing and composing a new podcast intro for a class project, real life scenario. So we appreciate Gavin and all his great stuff. You can find his information in our show notes. But thank you so much, Brad. Are you trying? Yeah, Brad's trying.
Yeah.
There it is. Brad gave us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Good job,
up
Gavin.
Zoom. Yeah.
Way to go, Gavin.
Yeah. Woo-hoo. But again, Cory, dude, thank you so much for reaching out and hanging out with us. Listeners, you all know what to do. Follow us. You can follow Cory and Discipled Apparel. Follow us on our Instagram page. I said disciplined.
Disciplined
I
apparel.
said
No, you said-
disciplined. I said it. The D was there, Brad. The D was there.
Said-
It was.
said discipled apparel.
Stop it. This is my part of the show.
Sounds like a good name. I mean, if you want to branch
Right.
out,
There goes a competitor.
There goes the competitor. That's right. But you can follow us on Instagram and our Facebook group page. You can always go to our website. Brad, will the store be up soon?
it will be up soon. We're having trouble with them accepting our EIN number, and I don't know if it's because of the government shutdown and they can't check.
could be.
I keep sending them the document, and it's I think it's automated. And when I try to, it's like, hey, do you need support? Yes. And I click on it. It's like a chat bot, and then it just keeps like buffering.
So what we're gonna do? I'm gonna bail on our outro, and we are now going to Cory. You're gonna be a part of this. We're just gonna start railing against the government. Just cut the
I'm here
music, and
for
here
it.
we go.
Yeah.
So listeners, thank you so much. We love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Share our show, rate and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. But listeners, we love you. Brad, I love you, buddy.
Love you too.
And listeners, we will catch you next time.
Go be his church.